Hello, my name is Mark Lejean, and welcome to today's special PAX South 2018. So, we were in line, we started walking forward, and this is pretty much what it's like to walk right when you walk in the PAX, right whenever it's open. It's crazy. And one thing you'll notice is, like, some people are walking really slow, they're confused, they don't know what to do. Other people are running straight to what they want to do, and that was very confusing. I also had people at the booths yelling at me like, hey, check out our game, we have this thing, hey, come here and check this out. And like behind the camera I'm going, I wish I could, but turn off the audio, but I was like, I wish I could help you, oh man. And you're just walking by and there's just so much happening. There's so many new things, there's so many things you want to put your hands on and play. And yeah, I was just trying to get this video done with, and then I was kind of trying to see where everyone was running to, and come to find out everyone was running to this place to the left. So I went to the left. Yeah, there was, Monster Hunter World, this huge dragon just facing me. It is amazing, and that's where I stopped. I was like, you know what, I can't take it anymore. Let's run back. Let's go play a game. And the first game I played was Enter the Gungeon. I've been wanting to play that a lot, and I just went through and just took footage of a lot of different gaming companies, a lot of different things that I really liked. There's just so much energy there, so much going on. And I didn't talk to the developers as much because some of the booths, the developers weren't there, or there was a long line, and I was just like watching other people play stuff. There's a lot of darker games there that I just like, this looks creepily fun. This looks creepily cool, and I just really want to immerse myself in this. And a lot of the games are actually on Steam, and actually being at this place, I realized I need to get Xbox 360 corded controller, because I'll be able to play a lot of Steam games with that. And it was just great being able to sit down and play games, but there's another aspect of PAX that I actually have never really done before, or talked about, or even shot before, and it was people in cosplay. And I made a point to take more and more pictures with people in cosplay. So that was great. There's some amazing stuff. Dr. Robotnik being my favorite. The Geico guy was awesome. And I took it with other, I didn't care what they looked like, what they were, I just was like, this is cool. Then I met somebody who started watching my YouTube channel, the coolest guy from Corpus Christi, Matthew Anderson. He was really cool. He showed off his Dark Link cosplay he was wearing. We hung out, we walked around the showroom floor for about 45 minutes to an hour. It was awesome. We just caught up. We just talked about, what's going on in our lives, how we knew Father Bayardo, who got him to watch my channel, and it was great. And then I got in line to a panel, but I'm going to talk about that at the end. But Matthew was great. It was good to catch up with him and talk to him, and good to finally be able to meet him and talk. So that was really cool. There's a whole nother side of PAX 2, which was like a board game side. Magic was really big this year. There was not that much Magic. If there was, I didn't remember seeing it, but Magic was really huge this year, and there was a lot of board games. So many board games. They're free play. So many board games I've never seen before, and even though I've been to places around Austin that have these board games, it was good to see them kind of being showed off at PAX. And at first I thought it was empty, right? Right at the beginning of the day, there was no one there. There's all these empty tables and empty things there. And then later on, those tables filled up. And there was a lot of people there just to play board games. I think what was smaller this year was actually where the game devs were and where you look at games. But what was bigger this year was actually the board games, was actually playing the free play board game stuff. That was bigger than I've ever seen it. So I think that's where they get a lot of their footage and stuff. There was also some things I didn't like. For starters, there's a free play PC area, PC land, which is great, but I'm like, well, if you're at PAX, why would you want to do something that you could do at home anyway? And there's also a console one where you rent out a console, you're able to play it with friends. And I was like, well, but you could do this at home. You could play consoles at home. This is to me, PAX's experience stuff you can't experience at home. But to each his own, I guess. Then there was like the worst thing I've ever seen, and it was two people dancing, and I've covered their faces because of the embarrassment this video can cause. I mean, you go to PAX, right? It's once a year. You plan for it, and you sit down and watch two people dance terribly? I don't understand that. But anyway, one thing I thought I was going to hate, but I actually really, really liked, was PAX Arena. Walked up, did a video of it at first, and then I saw that there was a Smash Brothers tournament. And I was like, you know what? I have been championing esports and people playing together and that rising up video games to something higher than what it is. And so I might as well sit down for like a competition. And I started watching them, and it had all the, you know, the players come out and the smoke came up and they started walking out, and it was this whole production. I thought that was a little silly. I didn't get any footage of them actually playing the game because I thought I'd get in trouble, and it's a Nintendo game, Smash Brothers. But it was amazing seeing them play this game. It like blew my mind seeing them play this game. It was being streamed live on PAX, the PAX Arena, and it was amazing watching them play. I stayed for a whole hour watching these professional fighters fight each other in Smash. I just had no idea that I would like it. And then today, today's the day after, they actually streamed the finals of that on Twitch, and I ended up watching it because I got invested in some of the fighters, and I was like, I gotta see who's gonna win this thing. It was really, really fun, and you probably won't understand esports until you go to an esports competition and watch it. I felt the same way about hockey when I was younger, which is a weird analogy. That I didn't really care about hockey until I went to go watch the Ice Skaters in Lafayette go play, and then I was like super obsessed with hockey. I was like, this is great. That was really cool. And then I went to one panel, and the panel was amazing. The panel we chose to go through was what video games could make it into the video game canon. They compared the canon to like Shakespeare and Hitchcock and just these great creators. Not what are good games, what are great games that are the standard of video games. These are video games you must play. Like, these are movies you must watch, and these are books you must read, and these are paintings you must see to understand all these mediums. For video games, these are the ones you should play to understand video games. And these two guys that were there, they were highly academic, and they were talking about the academic merits of video games. It's hard to get professors and business people to play games and to understand their significance in our culture, like film, like books, and like art, you know, and that they are art. And it was awesome. They run a website called With a Terrible Fate, and I read their stuff, and then after the panel I sat there and talked to them for probably 45 minutes, just talking about video game theory, talking about what games meant the most to us. And they were very concerned with story in video games, and we talked about that. And it was a great discussion, great group of guys. Go check out With a Terrible Fate, because it really brings up a lot of questions that I have never thought about with video games in a deeper level. You know, I sometimes have deep conversations with my friends, but never about video games. Maybe, but you know, I'll talk about Breaking Bad or religion or politics in a very deep way. But video games, it was the first time I was in the circle of people and we were talking about like, oh, well, this happened, and talking about the depth of video games, what that story meant and how it affected us as people. It was a great, great, great discussion. And oh man, so that was so thought-provoking and great. And the only shame about PAX 2 is the convention center itself. The part where you talk to indie devs, that closes at 8 o'clock. But you can do stuff in and around the convention center. Just the main hall closes at 6 o'clock, which is crazy. So we left at like 5:30. And oh man, it's just so huge. It's so big. And I love PAX. I think you should go. If you're watching this video and you live in the South, you should plan to go to PAX, or whichever is the closest PAX to you. You should start planning it now, because I live close enough to San Antonio that I can plan the week before and get there. And I tried to get a few people to come, but no one was able to. Have to ask people to come in like November or like September, like, hey, PAX is in January, you need to get ready. And that's another thing that I hated about PAX 2, was it was so close from New Year's and Christmas. I was like, man, I just had a celebration and now I'm doing another. Like, I just bought a ton of games during Christmas and now I have to play a bunch of games. So I wish it was a little bit further away from Christmas, but otherwise it was a great experience. I highly recommend it. And tomorrow's video is going to be my favorite thing that happened. It was almost with a terrible fate. I almost dedicated a whole vlog to them. But I'm going to do it to something else, which I loved. So, thanks for watching Game Rating Review. Please hit like, subscribe, and like to see. And that was PAX 2018.